On August 24th, 1608, the arrival of the British traders in the Indian subcontinent changed their history forever. After 2 centuries in India, the British sabotaged the harmony among the different religions, violating their human rights and turning them against each other. This led to the partition of the Indian subcontinent into the independent nations of Hindu-majority India and Muslim-majority Pakistan in August 1947, prompting the bloody migration of millions of Muslims from India to the newly formed state. The migrants struggled significantly for their basic human rights, since they were brutally defied during and after the partition by the British, Indian officials, and some of the local populations. The British arriving in the Indian subcontinent created tension between Muslims and Hindus, who had been living together for centuries before they came. This was a prime example of the British divide and rule policy. Growing communal anxiety between the Hindus and Muslims within British India was fueled by the British, ultimately leading to the creation of 2 independent states. There were political, socio-economic, and religious unrests due to the policies and actions of the British. The Quit India movement and the movement for Pakistan's creation, led by the majority of Muslims, became popular. The last Viceroy of British India, Lord Mountbatten, proposed the plan of dividing India into 2 separate countries when withdrawing from India. One country would be for the Hindus, and the other would be for the Muslims. The leader for the Muslims, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, supported the idea, whereas Hindu leaders were not in favor. The partition was originally scheduled in June 1948. However, Lord Mountbatten rushed, miscalculated, and mishandled the process, and announced the independence almost a year earlier, on June 3, 1947. Due to the hurry, the borders were made in just 5 weeks, leaving them to be unsatisfactory and unclear. Muslims and Hindus, with their political leaders, were not satisfied or convinced with the division of land, therefore leading to a horrible migration. In 1947, there was a mass movement of millions across the newly drawn borders between Pakistan and India, based upon their religious identities. This migration was accompanied by widespread communal violence, including massacres and lootings, leading to a large number of casualties. Since Hindus and Sikhs were against the partition, they left their homes and migrated to India in extreme anger and frustration. On the other hand, the majority of the Muslims were in great favor of the partition. It was their success to get a new homeland created for them. Muslims sacrificed a lot by running movements, facing political injustice and rivalry, socio-economic isolation, and finally leaving their ancestral homes behind to reach Pakistan, since it was their dream. Unfortunately, the irresponsible attitude of the British officials sabotaged the entire process, leading to the violation of the migrants' rights. The migrants' right to travel peacefully and safely was abused by the Indian officials and some of the locals throughout their migrations. For example, there were passenger train massacres, also known as ghost trains, which meant when the trains would arrive in Pakistan, they were filled with only dead bodies. My maternal grandfather migrated himself from Uttar Pradesh, India to Karachi, Pakistan at the age of 9 with his family. He shares his experience from a train massacre. It was nighttime, and I heard screams from the back of the train. When I looked out the window, I saw something I can never forget. There was a mob of people with torches and weapons in hand, attacking the back half of the train. In a blink of an eye, the mob killed everyone in sight. I was terrified since the mob was coming to our compartments. Luckily, the train driver sped up the train, crossing the border at the last second to reach Pakistan. We were happy and thankful to God that we were alive. At the same time, we were missing our family friends who didn't make it and were martyred on the way. Most pedestrian migrants lost their lives while crossing the borders due to riots, since officials weren't able to provide security on both sides of the border. People fleeing their homes in both India and Pakistan became refugees after their migrations. Around 15 million people were displaced, 2 million were killed, and around 85,000 women were raped or abducted as a result of this bloody migration. Migrants coming to Pakistan badly suffered due to the shortage of food, health facilities, and shelters, which led to a humanitarian crisis. India and Pakistan were distributed with unequal amounts of land and water, causing agricultural problems. Industries and trade businesses became imbalanced in producing areas and providing facilities. This made the economy of two newly formed countries destabilized. India and Pakistan remain enemies after 77 years of their creations. Over the years, there have been 4 wars between the two countries. To date, Kashmir is still a bone of contention between Pakistan and India, as it is still a disputed area belonging to neither side. Visa facilities between the two are still not easily accessible. Many families that split up during the partition are still separated to this day. Survivors and their families still experience intergenerational trauma from this painful event in history. Although it was the responsibility of the British, Indian officials, and international agencies to monitor the process of the migration and make it safe, they failed to do that. My grandfather also shares the positives when coming to Pakistan. For me, Pakistan is everything. This was the passion of everyone at the time. People were helping each other financially, emotionally, and socially, providing food and shelter to the refugees. Everyone was trying to build a new country with discipline, faith, and unity. Pakistan, being a new country, had no proper infrastructure and no established resources. However, migrants and local Muslims were highly motivated, energetic, and ready to build a new nation together. This event changed history forever. Hence, pre-partition and post-partition eras never to be the same again.